So let's talk a little bit more about all of this. Katie Pavlich is news editor for townhall.com and a Fox News contributor. Katie, thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Another day, more announcements. You just heard what the president-elect Donald Trump had to say. He said that Governor Haley has a proven track record of bringing people together, amongst other things. What do you think?
It's very clear with Governor Haley's record in South Carolina that she's a leader, and the criticism of her in this position is that she doesn't necessarily have a lot of foreign policy experience, but she does have experience with American values and principles, and she's very good at espousing those views. And so when she goes to the UN, which of course is hostile to American values, she's going to be able to talk about the things that are important to Americans: free speech, freedom of religions, tolerance, women's rights in countries where women don't have a lot of freedom. So those are some of the things that she can move forward in a very hostile environment. And I think that she'll be able to work with some of the people in the UN that maybe we haven't been able to work with.
Katie, what do you think pushed her to the top of the list such that she was chosen? Was this also an effort to be a little bit more diverse?
Well, there has been a lot of criticism, specifically from Elizabeth Warren, saying that Donald Trump's choices haven't been diverse enough, but I highly doubt that the president-elect is taking advice from Senator Warren. I think that he is truly choosing people who are qualified and capable of doing the job, and those who can advance U.S. interests. And one thing that isn't being talked about here with the Haley choice that I think is important to bring up is the impact that this is going to have on Israel. Obviously, Israel is a huge ally of the United States. Jared Kushner has ties to Israel, obviously, and Donald Trump putting Nikki Haley in this position gives Israel some calm and room to breathe at the UN, because they, of course, are under attack. Nikki Haley was the first governor to sign legislation making sure that boycotts of Israeli goods were illegal in South Carolina, so that's something she can take to the UN and really stand up for our democracy and ally in the Middle East.
But here's the other thing. Word is that she could possibly be paired with Mitt Romney as Secretary of State. So a lot of people, I know you're on social media, are not very happy because they saw both of these people as very disloyal, not loyal to Donald Trump. And so they're not happy about it.
Well, I have some news for the people who aren't happy on either side of this, whether you are against Trump or for him. This is bigger than Donald Trump, and it's bigger than the presidency. This is about people coming together, Mitt Romney, Nikki Haley, and Donald Trump, even though they've had their differences, and putting the country and the priorities of the United States above their own egos and what they've maybe said about each other. And so putting those feelings aside proves that they're all grown-ups, that they're putting the best interests of the country first, and that they're willing to work together for the better of the future for all of us.
Governor Huckabee was on Fox and Friends this morning. He said that the president-elect should have them sign a loyalty pledge.
No.
But someone who was loyal, Dr. Ben Carson, and you know, he was in, he was out. He says he's not going to accept a position, but now the big rumor is, you know, for HUD secretary.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Carson, as you mentioned, was in, he was out, he's back in. He was on with Neil Cavuto yesterday talking about how he actually very much understands this position and the inner cities, and could actually bring a lot of change and goodwill to that position. And there's a lot of controversial policies that the Obama administration has implemented in that department. Ben Carson could certainly take a look at those and reverse some of them for the benefit of the communities that he is very familiar with.
Why do you think that he jumped back into it? Was he waiting specifically for the position, like this position, one that he wanted?
You know, I'm not really sure exactly why he jumped back in. He did say that, you know, if he was the most qualified for the job, of course, he would serve his country if he was asked. But he made it pretty clear in some of the statements that he released last week and earlier this week that he really wasn't interested in taking a position because he didn't think he had the experience not being in government. But I guess if you can run for president, you can certainly run a department of the federal government. So I'm sure he'll do a good job if he is chosen and is accepting of the position.
All right. Thank you so much, Katie. Appreciate you joining us, and have a great Thanksgiving.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.